I'm gonna die by sunflower. My tombstone is gonna say I died by a sunflower. People are gonna think, oh, she went into anaphylactic shock. No, the sunflower ate me. Aloha, love pups. I am Althemia, and today we are going to play Diona's Flower Shop, which I am honestly really interested in, besides the fact that it's another yandere sim. but I also got like flowers in my hair, and there's a lot of flower symbolism in Althemia in general, so I'm quite curious on where this is going to take us. You're in search of the perfect bouquet of flowers for a special event. In a hurry, I bolted out of my workplace and lifted my wrist to check at the time. Shit. I had a feeling I'd be working overtime again tonight, but I didn't expect leaving work this late. My plan was to leave a little earlier tonight to spare some time browsing for flowers to buy, but now it's 11:15 p.m. already. No shop must still be open by this hour. As I walk, the night envelops the streets in darkness and quietness. Yeah, I was right. I noticed that most shops are closed now. A hint of disappointment creeps in, realizing I won't have the chance to buy what I needed for tomorrow. If only I had thrown caution to the wind and left earlier. Now, I'm not sure anymore about tomorrow. Well, it's not like getting a flower bouquet for the occasion is that necessary after all, but I still think it'd be a good idea to do so. It's just showing up without a bouquet in hand would show the effort I put in, right? At least, that's what I think. I began to walk slowly, realizing there's no point in hurrying anymore, since I might just go through tomorrow without a flower bouquet. Yet, just as I was about to completely give up on the idea, something caught my attention and I came to an abrupt stop. Diona's Flower Shop. Despite the late hour, the entrance to the shop still displayed a riot of blossoms. It was a little strange to see, yet its beauty draws me in like a moth to a flame. Either the florist is incredibly dedicated, or the shop simply has unusual working hours. But that doesn't matter now. This means I have a chance to buy flowers. Hello. Eager, I hastened my steps towards the shop and entered. The door chimed with a soft ring as it swung open, announcing my arrival. The interior of the flower shop exudes a delicate beauty, with its simple yet elegant decor that consists of soft and muted colors. The blossoms neatly displayed in glass vases cast elongated shadows in the dim lighting. I need to turn the volume down some more. Get loud. I'll keep the sound up some. And I don't know about the voices. As I wandered through the shop, I could smell the scent of usual fragrant floral notes in the air. But I also began to notice something else. Something unsettling, far from the usual pleasantness. A faint, discordant odor that mingles with the flowery scents. A scent different from what I expect in a flower shop, but I couldn't quite place its origin either. I quickly dismissed it and chose to focus on the flower shop's exquisite arrangements instead, as if ignoring the scent will make it vanish somehow. I mean, as far as we're concerned, it could be one of those stinky plants. Considering this is a horror game and a yandere sim, though probably not, but it could be one of those stinky plants. I began observing the floral displays, my eyes drifting over them. Some bouquets were prearranged, while others featured individual stems waiting to be selected. Taking a closer look, the late hour seemed to have taken its toll on a few, leaving them with a slight wilt. Nonetheless, I feel grateful that this flower shop is still open at this hour. On the opposite side of the shop, a particular bouquet of sunflowers immediately captured my attention. They stood out with their vibrant freshness in stark contrast to the others. Wow, I whispered to myself, reaching out to gently touch the golden petals. A soft smile gracing my lips. This one's still quite fresh, surprisingly. Maybe I should get this one. I mused again, hesitating. Yeah, I think I should look around first. Turning away from the sunflowers, I strolled further into the shop, admiring the colorful array of blooms and pondering my choice. It wasn't until I stole a glance at the counter that I realized the shop was deserted. Where's the florist? Save. If you guys are wondering what that previous save was, I pressed record earlier, like 5 seconds into the game, and noticed my mic was still muted. So I was like, redo. Let's check the staff door. I hesitated for a moment, pondering whether it might be a bit excessive. But in the end, curiosity got the better of me. After all, someone could be inside, right? I mean, who in their right mind would leave their own shop unattended at this hour? It's kind of dangerous. After a brief internal debate, I made my way towards the back of the counter, intending to knock on the staff door. I noticed that odd, out-of-place scent from earlier seems to be coming from behind the store. I apologize, but only staff members are allowed to enter. Oh, hi. Sorry. I was taken aback by the sudden presence of a man with pink hair emerging from the staff door. Oh, sorry. I took a step back immediately, feeling a little flustered. No, you're quite alright. The man's lips curled upward into a smile that appeared warm to me, and he took a step back, maintaining a professional distance. I apologize for making you wait. I was tending to something in the other room and didn't notice someone had entered the shop. I mean, I did kind of just walk in at like 11 at night. Welcome to Diona's flower shop. I'm the florist in charge. How can I assist you? Yes, I'm here to buy some flowers for a special occasion. The man nodded and his smile broadened. Of course. What's the occasion, and what type of flowers are you interested in? Just save here. Friend's birthday for confession. Wow, you're hot. It's my friend's birthday. Well, I'm actually looking for some flowers for a birthday gift. It's my friend's birthday, and I want to surprise them with a beautiful bouquet. Of course. Flowers would make for a fantastic gift. We have a delightful variety of bouquets that would be perfect for your friend's birthday. Is there any particular flower or color they like? They love sunflowers, so I was hoping to find a bouquet with sunflowers. As if he's silently approving my choice in flowers, the mention of sunflowers made the man's smile broaden. Excellent! Sunflowers are bright and cheerful, perfect for bringing a smile to anyone's face on their special day. We can create some lovely sunflower arrangements that your friend will surely adore. This reminds me of going to like flower shops back when I was looking for flowers for my graduation. My high school graduation, not VTuber. Obviously, I don't plan on graduating anytime soon. I'll arrange the bouquet for you. You can follow me and add any additional touches you might want later if you'd like. Thank you. I trailed behind the florist, observing as he elegantly halted his steps and began crafting a floral arrangement at a nearby table. He began by selecting individual petals from a bunch, each movement deliberate and precise. Swiftly after, he picked up a pair of slender silver pruning shears from a nearby cabinet. It feels a little awkward if I just stand here and watch him work. Maybe I should try and say something. The flowers here are beautiful. You really take good care of them. Thank you. It's always a pleasure to create something beautiful with nature's gifts. With the shears in hand, he snipped the stems at just the right angle, the metallic blades glinting slightly in the flower's shop's dim lighting. Their edges appear really sharp and maintained. As you may have noticed, a couple of them have started to wilt. I apologize for that. It's because I usually select the flowers during the day, and they don't remain fresh until late. Mm. I nodded in understanding, acknowledging the truth in his explanation. No worries, I completely understand. Flowers tend to deteriorate quickly once they're picked. I'm relieved to know so. It's indeed unfortunate that their beauty don't last very long. He held one of the blooms up to the soft light, pausing mid-sentence as he momentarily inspected it for any imperfections. Satisfied, he chose another flower, balancing the two with a practiced eye, and resumed speaking. I often wish that more individuals embraced nurturing flowers, but it appears many lean towards purchasing them solely for decoration. People prefer to opt for the pre-arranged, hand-picked, and cleaned options. Hmm. Yeah, you're right. It's disheartening to see flowers go to waste. Why does your flower shop even remain open until this late anyways? Well, at least I'm glad to see someone as charming as you is taking care of these beautiful flowers. I'll go with the first one. Save. Yes, absolutely. Flowers possess this ability to bring joy and warmth to people's lives when tended to lovingly. Unfortunately, not many people seem to grasp that. There was something sincere about the way he spoke of flowers and handled them, palpable in his actions. You must really love working with flowers. My words brought a soft smile to the florist's face. Thank you for the kind words. I do find great joy in creating arrangements that express one's beauty and emotions. He continued by picking up a handful of delicate baby's breath, tiny white flowers that added an airy lightness to the bouquet. Baby's breath is one of my favorite flowers to decorate bouquets with. They just go with everything. They're like black in the fashion world, except in the flower world. They just match everything. Was there a special reason behind your choice to become a florist? My love for flowers has been a lifelong affair. Even as a child, I was captivated by their beauty and grace. But it was when I met my wife that my passion for flowers intensified greatly. Aww. His voice took on a noticeable change of tone as he spoke of his wife. Your wife must hold a special place in your heart. With each nod, his smile seemed to grow wider, making it clear that he's absolutely smitten with the topic of his wife. She is, and I'm thankful to be in her presence every single day. I nod softly, smiling at his words and remaining quiet to let him focus. Amidst his work, he suddenly paused, setting aside the shears and fixing his gaze on me. Excuse me for just a moment. I need to retrieve something from the other room. The florist smiled politely and left the counter. Wonder what he had to go get. After a short absence, he returned carrying a small wooden box filled with decorative satin ribbons and a handful of white lilies. Oh. Thank you for your patience. No problem at all. He continued with his work and thoughtfully introspected the white petals throughout the bouquet, like pearls adorning a royal robe. Ah. I apologize again. I just remembered I missed something. How forgetful of me. I'll be right back. Just one more thing to fetch. He disappeared into the staff room once more. Wonder what he forgot this time. Take your time. Just like this, the florist would frequently step away to the staff room in the midst of his work. Sometimes he returned with new equipment and fresh blooms, while other times he reappeared with no apparent changes. Each time he opened the staff door, the peculiar smell grew more potent. Soon enough, the florist returned again with a roll of decorative paper. Thank you for waiting. No problem. Even though the door is closed now, his earlier trips to the staff room left a lingering scent in the shop. I instinctively scrunched up my nose at the unpleasant odor. I think it's the smell from earlier. I kind of want to ignore the smell and pretend it isn't there. Because, like I said before, I mean, it is a horror game, so it's also like, maybe it is like a dead body, but I don't remember the name of the flower, but there's a flower that smells like a rotten a rotten corpse. And, but it's kind of pretty looking, but kind of stinky. Kind of stinky. I'm gonna ignore the smell. Despite my intrigue, I decided to push the unusual scent to the back of my mind. As much as the aroma tugged at my curiosity, something tells me that it's probably best if I don't question it. When he placed each petals with precision, I suddenly hear loud crashing noises coming from another room. For the first time since I walked into the flower shop, I see a genuine shock on the florist's face. What was that? Sounds like someone tripped over something. I apologize. I must go and take a look. Please excuse me for a moment. Okay. He looks genuinely concerned as he rushes towards the staff room, leaving me standing there. And of course, as he opened a door, that scent lingers in the air again. It makes me question what's really behind that closed door. And if it's the scent of flowers, I wonder what kind of flower could possibly emit such a foul scent. After what feels like an eternity, the florist finally returns. The worry that was visible on his face earlier has dissipated, and he now wears a faint smile. Is everything okay back there? It seems my wife accidentally knocked over some gardening tools of mine. Nothing to worry about. She's just a little clumsy at times. He chuckled softly and swiftly picked up the flowers again, resuming the arrangement. I see. I stood still, patiently awaiting the flower arrangement to be done. Yet, while I was looking around the table, I noticed a stain of blood on the end of the counter. Exactly the spot where the florist just touched. Huh? Oh, the light just went out his eyes. Oh, shit. The florist seems to have been aware of me spotting the blood stain. Is there something else that caught your attention? Okay, I will point out. I'll be like, that blood? That blood? My voice trembles with concern as I gesture towards the bloodstain. There's a strong urge in me that wants to really know what's happening. That blood, what happened? He pauses for a moment, his eyes briefly darting to the spot I was pointing at. I think I didn't properly clean up after myself just now. He lets out a quiet sigh, rubbing his temple with his other hand. I apologize, I had a nosebleed just now. A nosebleed? Yes, it happens every now and then, unfortunately. Sometimes I do wonder if it's from me working a bit too hard, for I'm the only one who works here. Didn't you just say your wife was in the other room? What about your wife? Why isn't she helping you? He offered me a brief glance and looked away again to continue his focus on his work. I can't let her work, of course. What kind of husband lets his lady work? He said with a small chuckle, his words sounding genuine. I see. Quietly, I observed his fingers in motion. With every addition, the florist paused, his discerning eyes ensuring each flower found its perfect place in the arrangement. I don't trust you. You can look at me with those cold, dead eyes for as long as you want. I don't trust you. Not long after, he looked my way. I apologize for making you wait. I'm almost done with the arrangement. Would you like to include a card with the bouquet? Normally, there's an additional charge, but since you're buying our last batch of flowers, I'll include it at no extra cost. For free? The florist nodded, smiling. Yeah. We're running out of saves already. Thank you. I'd like a card then. Excellent choice. What would you like me to write on it? I think I'd like some... I told the florist what I'd like him to write, word by word as he wrote them down. Thank you. Is this good enough for you? I inspected the bouquet of flowers he had arranged, adorned with a small card attached to the ribbon. Oh. He has a very pretty handwriting, and the arrangement looks just as beautiful. It's beautiful. I held onto the bouquet tighter, looking up at the florist. Thank you so much. I'm glad you think so. Do you want to purchase something else before leaving, or is this all? Okay. Yes, that's all. I should get going. How much is this? Then everything will be... Okay. With a hushed sigh, I took out my wallet and offered him the payment for his services. He took the money and swiftly processed the payment. Here's the change. I gave a nod and extended my hand to accept the change. Thank you, and also for the arrangement. I gave a nod and extended my hand to accept the change. Thank you for choosing Diona's flower shop. We hope to see you again soon. Thanks as well. I picked up the bouquet from the counter, turning around to walk towards the door. Despite the unease, I managed to politely bid my farewell and turned to leave. As I distanced myself from the shop, the unsettling scent slowly faded, and the surroundings became more familiar and comforting. Gradually, my heart rate began to return to normal, and a feeling of relief washed over me, knowing I had escaped whatever strange ambiance that flower shop held. Ending. Lily of the Valley. Oh, the endings have flower names. Amidst shadows and fragrant brooms, a discerning heart chose cautious tune. A fleeting scent, a whispered spell, led one to escape where shadows dwell. Oh, I like that. Sometimes it's best to trust your instincts and not let your guard down. A simple choice to walk away can save you from a fate that's better left unexplored. Right? Oh, I like that. Hang on, okay. Usually I would start from the beginning, but I want to put the, I want to click this one real quick. Yes, but now I'm curious about something. About what, if I may ask? About your wife. Pardon? He looks genuinely surprised at my question, clearly from how his eyes slightly widened. I'm just curious about the person who inspired you to do such artistry. His expression softened at my confirmation, and he nodded slowly. Oh, I see. I'm flattered you want to know more about us. Well, my wife... She's a feisty, wonderful woman. Despite the way she is born, her uniqueness shines through. She has a delicate nature, despite her strong and tall exterior. Which is why I don't let her work in the shop, nor help me directly. Because I know that she's helping me in her own way. And that is as much as I could say about her. Something in his voice tells me that he's not going to say anything more. I see. You seem to treasure her so much. The florist nodded slowly, smiling in satisfaction. Of course I do. She's my everything. Following that, the florist turned and headed to the opposite side of the counter, where he began tidying up. He seemed to be showing quite the interest. Wouldn't you say? He stopped his movements and turned around to face me, a small smile on his face. I don't know which one to click. Okay, well, yes, about you and your wife. He continued arranging items, his fingers briefly touching an old photograph resting nearby. I'm flattered. Not many are willing to learn. He carefully cleared the dust from the photograph, revealing a picture of a sunflower garden. Me and my beloved's life. His eyes held an affectionate look as he whispered softly, speaking of his wife. My beautiful wife. She's a fragile soul, born into the circumstances that set her apart from the norm. What? I leaned in, curiosity piqued by the topic. Is she sick, or is she sick? No, she is far from that. His fingers gently brushed against the photograph, an image of a sunflower garden bathed in a warm, nostalgic light. She's just born under unique circumstances. Yet she is still living an embodiment of beauty, rising from adversity. I met her in a garden back when I was much younger. His affectionate gaze lingered on the photograph, caressing the petals captured within the frame as if reaching across time. I see. Such a beautiful photo of sunflower garden, almost like straight up from a fairy tale. Long before I met her, they were my solace. Tending after flowers becomes a comfort to me. Almost like by fate, this passion of mine was what particularly led me into meeting the love of my life as well. And, of course, the people around me. They called me strange. Some even laughed at my affinity for flowers. But my wife, when I met her, it was like the flowers finally had a voice. She helped me find solace in who I am and a purpose in life. Aww. He placed the photograph back in its place, and for a moment, silence hung in the air, laden with unspoken sentiments. His gaze lingered on the photo, lost in a world of memories. It sounds like she had a profound impact on your life. Indeed, in more ways than I can express. The florist's crimson eyes holds a mixture of fondness and introspection. Your wife, how has she influenced your life now? Your family, were they supportive? Did your family support your relationship with her? Ah, my family. Well, let's just say they had their own reservations. Especially my father. He even tried to separate us at one point. Oh, that's just rude. He paused momentarily to let out a quiet sigh. Being the only son, they had their own plans for my future. They didn't see what I saw in her. Moreover, they didn't even endorse my passion for tending the flowers. And that extends to the people around me who consider my hobbies somewhat excessive. I mean, I guess keeping your store open this late is a little bit excessive, but if it's a hobby that you enjoy and it's not hurting people, I don't see why not. But I never wavered and stayed true to my heart. I had always known what I wanted deep within. It was a feeling I never experienced before. I wanted to protect it. That's why we put in our all together, and now there's no one in our way. I can see that. In the recesses of my thoughts, I find myself considering a few things. I'm really curious about this whole thing. I have this urge to learn more, but there's a lingering doubt about whether I should. He remains silent as he continues to tidy up. Does he not mind that I'm still here in his shop, even though the arrangement is now complete? It's like he's not even acknowledged my presence at all. I cleared my throat, gathering my thoughts. Well, that's quite something. But I think I'll have to take my leave now. I wish you and your wife good fortune. I turned around and headed towards the door with the bouquet in hand, ready to depart. You see, it's rare to find someone who understands my artistry and my situation. His words caught me off guard, and I was taken aback by the depth of his statement. Your situation? He paused as if considering whether to say more. My wife. Someone who's important in my life. The circumstances between me and her are unusual, as my late father liked to put it. I listened intently. My curiosity piqued. It seemed like he was opening up to me. You feel like a breath of fresh air to us. If I may be honest, not everyone takes the time to consider my circumstances. I see. Him suddenly speaking so much stopped me from leaving. The florist's words caught me off guard, and I wasn't sure how to respond. I'm sure you're aware that people are so quick to judge, especially nowadays. They like to stick their noses into people's business, even something as personal as relationships. So it's rare to find someone who is genuinely willing to understand my situation. You. I'm sorry you had to deal with that. Don't be sorry. Humans tend to fear what they don't understand, and hate what they can't conquer. It's simply in their nature to do so. That's why meeting someone like you who's open to listening is quite refreshing. A brief silence enveloped us, his smile slowly resurfacing whilst his fingers gently traced the petals of a nearby sunflower. As a parting gift, I'd like to offer you something special. His voice was tinged with genuine appreciation. What? I want you to meet her. For a moment, I struggled to speak. Meeting his wife? This is unexpected. Hella. But why? You've been so open to listening. That's why I believe you deserve to meet someone special, like my wife. I feel like you'd be one of the people who would understand her nature. Not to mention, I'm sure my wife would like to know such a beautiful soul like you. Although it was unusual, I ended up agreeing, my curiosity surpassing any doubts. Okay. The florist's smile blossomed with my response. Thank you. He led the way, opening the staff door for me to step in first. He walked me down a narrow flight of stairs, the air growing cooler as we descended into the earth. Soft footsteps echoed in the dimly lit space. The path seemed different now, a blend of shadows and flickering light. We passed by a closed door marked staffs only, and the scent of fresh blooms wafted from the other side. Man, what type of flower shop is this? Went from nice, bright, and pretty to I'm about to get shanked in the stairwell. But the scent seems to come from another place. Is the staff room behind that closed door? Yes, you're correct. So the door behind that counter leads to these stairs. It doesn't directly take us to the staff room. I followed the florist a little further until we both reached a sturdy wooden door. He turned to face me, a faint smile gracing his lips. Here we are. Whoa, what is this? Is this like, I was about to say a greenhouse? Or more like a red house. He opened the door to reveal what looks like an underground greenhouse, illuminated by soft red-hued lights. The air was heavy with floral scents, tinged with the same unpleasant smell from when I first entered the shop. He stepped aside and allowed me to step inside first. Wait here for a moment, won't you? Oh, it's so creepy. I nodded slowly. I saw a figure emerge from the shadows. My heart raced in anticipation. Diona, my dear. Diona, my dear, please look this way for a moment. Diona's appearance was obscured, and I couldn't really make out any distinct shape for a moment. As the light illuminated the figure in a dim light, I could finally perceive its features. If they could even be called that. What? Feed me, Seymour. I'm sorry. That is all that came to my head. Hi. Hi. Does Diona bite? The wife he's been referring to all this time is this thing? Okay, I won't call you a thing. Hi. The monstrous being emitted a guttering growl, its massive head swaying ominously as its gnarled stems shifted with a creaking sound. What? From its gaping maw, a long and sinuous tongue emerged, dripping with a thick layer of glistening saliva. The sight was revolting, as if it were ready to strike at any moment. I kinda want to pet it. I want to pet it. Ignoring my shocked reaction, the florist displayed an unusual fondness for his wife. Oh, I know you're eager, my lovely. Come closer. Give me a kiss, will you? As if in response to the florist's tender gestures, the monster reciprocated by licking his cheek with its tongue. Don't worry, my beloved. Our guest here is here to stay. I'm here to what? I'm here to do what now? I'm here to stay. I watched in shock as the grotesque creature referred to as my lovely by the florist nuzzled against him. He gently withdrew himself from the monster and met my stare. Say hello to my wife. Hi, Diona. The monster faced me with its eerie, multicolored eyes. Hello. As I expected, she's pleased to meet you. Is Diona a giant sunflower monster? The monster emitted a low growl, akin to a purring noise, its form quivering slightly as if responding to the florist's words. This can't be real. I think I'm dreaming. The florist tenderly stroked the rough surface of the creature's petals. With each caress, the monster's form writhed in anticipation. Yes, I must apologize for my absence earlier. You know, I have to take care of our guests, especially those with excessive curiosity. Huh? Is he talking about me? You see, my lovely here was getting quite impatient with your presence. She's been famished for weeks, and the sound of unfamiliar footsteps was driving her to a frenzy. I find myself connecting the dots in my head. Diona's gonna eat me. The florist earlier repeated visits to the staff room, his hurried demeanor, it all made sense now. The monster, his wife, had been starving. Now I understand the reason behind his earlier disappearances. Don't worry, I've taught her well, and you're safe here with me. How could he say that? I don't feel safe at all. I repeat, I still kinda want to pet it. My heart raced with unease, realizing the florist's true nature and the monstrous being he's been referring to as his beloved wife. Would you like to shake her hand? She's always excited to meet new faces. The florist reached towards the creature's petal, almost resembling a hand, shifting it in my direction. I want to shake its hand. I stumbled back, my heart pounding as I continued to grapple with the reality of the situation. Despite so, I fought back everything in me to run away, and instead stepped closer to the monstrous creature before me. As I stepped closer, I could feel the heat emanating from it. Hello, Diona. Nice to meet you. I reach my hand out to caress its large yellow petals. They definitely feel much rougher than the usual sunflower petals, much thicker and stiff. Unlike when the florist touched it, the monster doesn't seem to react to my touches as it did with him. While I caress its petals, the florist stands there, remaining close to the monster he calls his wife, watching my every move. Isn't she gorgeous? The florist's gaze narrows as he watched me closely. Yeah. Yes. She is gorgeous. The florist smiled, nodding slowly. I knew you'd think so. He stepped back and put my hand aside from the monster, as if not wanting me to touch it even more. His grip was firm as he moved my hand away. She's a type of carnivorous sunflower. His gaze returned to the creature, displaying fondness for his wife. As I mentioned earlier, I met her in a garden when I was younger. Probably when I was around 10 years old. We practically grew up side by side and faced various kinds of challenges together. Back then, Diona was just the size of a normal sunflower. At that point, her diet mostly consisted of small animals. Though it wasn't until she nibbled on my ring finger that I truly understood her appetite for flesh. It's alright though. The moment marked the beginning of our bond. Isn't that it? His words took a moment to sink in. My eyes immediately trailed to the florist's hands, and only then I realized one of his ring fingers is missing. I just noticed that. There's a metaphorical saying that couples should savor each other's flavors before walking down the aisle. In our case, that saying takes on a rather literal meaning. But don't be alarmed, Diona had her fair share of a snack this evening already. Though I must tell you that she has quite the appetite. He delivered this assurance with a faint smile that only fueled my unease. This couldn't be real. How could he be married to a literal sunflower monster? Right, my sunshine? What is this? My wife is incredibly adorable, always getting a tad bashful whenever I speak of her hearty appetite. Let's not say anything. I'll come back for those questions. The florist and the monster continued with their unsettling display of affection, completely ignoring my presence. Could you repeat that for me, my beloved? But I'm not lying, my sweet. It was merely a part of the plan. She's gonna eat me! What? It's just how things goes. It has always been. What sounded like a displeased growl left the monster's mouth, a hint of discontent evident in the deep rumble that emanated from its throat. Maybe she doesn't want to eat me? My wife, please understand. Be a little more patient for me, okay? No, she wants to eat me and he doesn't want to feed me to her. Lovely. I'll spoil you well tonight. I miss spending time with you. Perfect. Me too. I'm gonna die by sunflower. My tombstone is gonna say I died by a sunflower. People are gonna think, oh, she went into anaphylactic shock. No, the sunflower ate me. My wife said she'd like to eat you. What did I tell y'all? What did I tell y'all? The sunflower wants to eat me. I apologize. Let me rephrase that. How can you rephrase that? How could you possibly Rephrase that, kind sir. How? His words hit me like a shockwave. She'd like to get to know you through her taste buds. You know, we could have a conversation, Diona. That's how humans communicate. We talk to each other, you know? Yep, this is where I should leave. I dashed towards the door as quickly as possible. But then he was suddenly behind me, his tone soft yet sinister. My wife has been starving for a while now, and he seemed like the ideal choice. Fear gripped me, realization crashing over me in waves. Don't you think it's impolite to depart when you're being introduced as a guest? I should have known better than to go out of my way to step into a totally not suspicious flower shop that apparently still open past 11 at night. Let me leave. I tried yanking his wrist once more, attempting to break free, and dashed upstairs. But a sharp pain suddenly struck my side, causing me to lose my balance. I'm afraid I cannot allow that. The floor's shears pierced me. My wife would hate knowing that someone like you entered our shop and didn't get to be a part of her feast. In agony, I curled up into a ball on the ground. The florist approached, stabbing my neck. Ugh. I screamed in pain, blood mixing with my coughs. Throughout it all, the florist stared, emotionless, eyes fixed on me, holding my wrist before dragging me. Let go of me. I'm in no position to decide that. Please do ask my wife. He held me firmly, dragging me closer to where his wife awaited. Ugh. The proximity to the repulsive creature made my stomach churn. I could almost feel the heat radiating from its body. Do you think you'd enjoy tonight's meal, my sunshine? If not, I will simply dispose of this slab. The monster unhinged its jaw, its tongue slithering out to lick my face. I recoiled in disgust, its hot saliva staining my cheek. My sunshine, I've warned you repeatedly not to do that. It's unbearable to see, as if you were kissing them. What the hell did he just say? I glanced at him with a flurry of emotions within me, sensing my arms and legs being bound tightly. Now I must prepare you for her meal. The monster growled again, seemingly reacting to the florist's words, lowering its head before glaring at us. Oh, I was just a little jealous, but I'm not upset with you, my dear. The florist rose and walked ahead of me, caressing the monster's stem as it leaned into his touch. While I struggled, I caught a sickening smell nearby, the same unpleasant scent from earlier assaulting my senses. Don't worry, my sunshine. I'll chop it up for you. Huh? After a moment, both the florist and the monster ceased their affectionate gestures to turn their attention to me. He harshly yanked me and dragged me to another room, awash in dim blue light. The unpleasant smell intensified as we inched closer to our destination. I realized this room was one of the rooms the staff door led to. Let me go! Keep your mouth shut and I will make it easier for you. He turned around and left to retrieve some items from the tall cabinet. The florist retrieved a huge gardening shears. Suddenly, the foul smell intensified, assaulting my senses. As he turned on one of the lights, I realized the odor emanated from behind the door. He creaked it open slightly, revealing a horrifying sight, a pile of human bodies. Some were covered in dirt, while others were soaked in blood. Instinctively, I attempted to flee, only to be reminded of my restrained limbs. Damn. The fresher the meat, the better the taste. He's ready to lunge at me. Why are you doing this? I noticed the florist's eyes briefly widen at my words. My outburst appeared to catch him off guard. Ah, even a toddler could grasp that. He sighed, locking his crimson eyes onto mine. Clearly, it's because I need to feed my wife. Can't you understand her circumstances? It's how she was born. Disgust flickered across his features, his expression contorting. I assumed you might grasp it to some extent. I seemed to have been mistaken. He gripped onto his gardening shears and advanced, piercing my lower stomach. I screamed in pain, desperate to hold and staunch the wound, but my restraints prevented me. You're not being very cooperative. He tugged me once more, positioning me directly in front of the monster. Now, this will be quick. No. My wife? The monster responded with a growl, turning its head towards the florist. Each time he talks to that creature, his voice takes on a softer, affectionate tone. I hate to ask, but could you assist me, my dear? It's not cooperating very well. I'm an it now. The monster let out another growl, even louder this time. It craned its neck downward and then extended its tongue in my direction. Ah, are you eager to devour it immediately? I understand. However, I'm just concerned that you might choke again like the last time. So I couldn't let you devour it right away, but you're allowed to help. You're very lovely, my sunshine. Now, be still, will you? The monster turned to look at me and leaned closer to my face. Instinctively, I flinched and tried to avoid it. What is it trying to do? I told you earlier. The pain feels unbearable as I feel the monster chewing on the lower half of my body. Ah, delicious, isn't it? You seem to be quite enjoying it, my beloved. I'm relieved to see. Thank you for your contribution. The florist's cold, distant voice was the last thing I heard as I drew my last breath. Ending Diona, his sunflower. Like sunflowers to the sun, the curious heart beckoned towards the light, yet your fate took its wending bend. Did you dare to pluck the flower of truth at the cost of your own petals? The ending screen changed! Okay. Okay, I want to go back. Not there. Nah, I don't want to kick him. Is this the one? Yeah, I want to ask a few questions about her. Of course, ask away. How do you even feed her? I raised an eyebrow, curiosity lacing my words. Do you really want to know? I nod, swallowing nervously. Depending on the meal size, I let my wife eat on her own, though I do prefer cutting the food into smaller pieces before eventually feeding her to prevent my dear from choking. I see. I muttered in response, not wanting to pry further. The florist and the monster continued with their unsettling display of affection, completely ignoring my presence. Okay. We've read this. Wah! Wah! Yep, she's gonna eat me. Ow. La-di-dee-do, la-di-do. She gonna eat me. If I click on auto. Okay, this time we're gonna kick it. We're gonna kick him. I'm gonna try to kick him. Impressive effort, but I'd advise against resisting. It's unfortunate that it has come to this. Yay, does nothing. It did nothing. And... is this again? Uh... Yep, that's the same ending. I cannot believe the ending thing changed. Hang on. I was told that there's 5 endings, and I... don't know. Let's see. Okay, so we gotta flirt with him. I'm gonna start from the beginning. Actually, wait, hang on. We gotta flirt with him. Which one? This one. Oh, wow, you're hot. Pardon? Why the heck did I blurt that out? I feel utterly awkward. I tried to form a reply, but my thoughts scrambled, leaving me tongue-tied with nonsensical sounds. Why, I appreciate that. The florist gave a slight smile in reply, his voice hardly shifting. That only adds to my embarrassment. I cringe inwardly, wondering how I could have said something like that earlier. In any case, is there any type of flowers that you're interested in buying? Not really. Nothing comes to mind yet. That's perfectly fine. If you'd like, I can show you our flower language book. It's a way to choose flowers based on their meanings and symbolism. Thank you. I'd really appreciate that. The florist swiftly retrieved the flower language book from a cabinet and handed it to me. And I took it with a nod and a small smile. Thank you. I trailed behind the florist, observing as he elegantly halted his steps and began crafting a floral arrangement at a nearby table. Despite trying to focus on the task at hand, my mind kept replaying the awkward moment I blurted out that thoughtless comment. Please browse at your leisure. I have to return to another arrangement for a client, so whenever you've made your choice, please let me know. Thank you so much. I'll definitely let you know. Trying to distract myself, I gazed at the beautiful assortment of flowers before me. While I was browsing, the florist was deep in concentration in his arrangement work. I began flipping through the pages of the flower language book, scanning the meanings and symbolisms behind various blooms. Marigolds and red roses caught my attention. Marigolds are often associated with passion and creativity. Seemed like a vibrant choice. On the other hand, red roses conveyed messages of love and admiration. I don't know which one to decide. After a moment of contemplation, I turned my attention towards the florist. With the shears in hand, he snipped the stems at just the right angle, the metallic blades glinting slightly in the flower shop's dim lighting. And their edges appear really sharp and maintained. I don't want to bother him, but I also need to ask for his help in deciding. Excuse me. Yes? He paused his movements, anticipating my next words with a small smile on his face. I can't decide between marigolds or red roses. A tough decision indeed. Both choices are beautiful. Perhaps you can opt for the red roses. As much as I'd like to offer you both, I can't sell flowers that aren't in their best condition. As you may have noticed, a couple of them have started to wilt. I apologize for that. It's because I usually select the flowers during the day, and they don't remain fresh until late. I nodded in understanding, acknowledging the truth in his explanation. No worries, I completely understand. Flowers tend to deteriorate quickly once they're picked. I'm relieved to know so. It's indeed unfortunate that their beauty don't last very long. I often wish that more individuals embraced nurturing flowers, but it appears many lean towards purchasing them solely for decoration. Well, at least I'm glad to see that someone as charming as you is taking care of these beautiful flowers. His lips curved into a small smile, his eyes meeting mine briefly before his focus returned to his work. Thank you for your kind words. It's an honor. Flowers are really beautiful and delicate. Thus, I want to be able to enchant each flower's beauty by arranging them harmonically. Well, I think you're already doing a good job at it. Was there a specific reason behind your choice to become a florist? He appears to truly enjoy his work. My love for flowers has been a lifelong affair. Even as a child, I was captivated by their beauty and grace. But it was when I met my wife that my passion for flowers intensified greatly. His voice took on a noticeably change of tone as he spoke of his wife. Your wife must hold a special place in your heart. With each nod, his smile seemed to grow wider, making this route makes me sound like a homewrecker. I don't want to be a homewrecker. Making it clear that he's absolutely smitten with the topic of his wife. She is, and I'm thankful to be in her presence every single day. So, would you choose the selection of red roses? Oh, right. I was caught up in the conversation. I don't want to piss him off with I don't want to piss him off with the marigolds. Yes, just red roses would be fine. An excellent choice indeed. He set aside the arrangement for another client after he tied a ribbon around it as a finishing touch. If I may ask, what's the occasion? Since it's red roses, we're gonna say it's for a confession. Well, I want to confess my feelings to someone, so I thought flowers would be a perfect way to express it. Ah, how lovely. Flowers can convey emotions beautifully indeed. Okay, I'll begin preparing them for you. Thank you so much. I nod softly, smiling at his words and remaining quiet to let him focus on his work now. Okay, well, do. Do I have to... Don't do it. Return. Do I just spam click then. Spammity clickity. You know, I must admit, your flowers aren't the only thing that's captivating around here. I tried to smile, hoping to divert my own attention from the unusual scent in the shop. His glance in my direction was accompanied by a smile that appeared somewhat contrived. It made me feel a little uneasy, as if he could discern my motives. Care to elaborate? Oh, I mean, it's not just the flowers. Your presence adds a certain charm to this place, too. Is that so? You have a way with compliments. I feel like a homewrecker and I hate it. Even though I know his wife is a giant sunflower monster. I call it as I see it. You must have many admirers. Ah, you're flattering me. What? Blah, 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 blah. Blah, 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 blah. Nothing. I was just spacing out. Oh, it's nothing really. I was just spacing out for a moment. His eyes, a deep shade of crimson, bore into me for a moment longer, as though he's seeking something in my expression before he eventually broke the silence. I see. Well, if you have any question about the flowers, feel free to ask. I don't like this feeling. I don't want a card. I want you instead. With a small laugh, he shook his head, the florist's eyes betraying the absence of a genuine smile. Your flirtatious behavior, as tedious as it is, reminds me of a time when my wife and I would share light-hearted moments. But I'm afraid the situation isn't one of them. Sighing softly, he returned to wearing a wider smile. I will be giving you the card then. Would you like me to write on it? Wow, he's blatantly ignoring me. Yeah, he should be blatantly ignoring you. You don't flirt with another man's wife. I mean, you don't flirt with another wife's man. I said that right the first time. Okay, so we save here, and we act like we should leave, I think? Yes. Shit, fuck ass, that scared me. I literally backed the fuck up from my chair. Yes, can I help you? But then the florist caught my wrist and prevented me from leaving. He forgot to pay. He stood uncomfortably close to me, and despite the softness of his voice, it carried a sinister undertone. What? I paid just now. You even processed it yourself. I retorted with a quiver in my voice. His grip on my wrist felt excessively strong. The florist shook his head at my words. I'm afraid that's not enough. Okay, tell me how much it was and I'll give you more. Shit, fuck, let go of me. What? Are you serious? Am I being scammed right now? I should have known better than to go out of my way to step into a totally not suspicious flower shop that's apparently still open past 11 at night. He shook his head once again. It's not about the bouquet. You did pay for that one, of course. But it's about my time. What do you mean your time? You've needlessly prolonged our interaction. You wasted my time. I am asking you to pay for my wasted time. I was supposed to have a quality time with her after work, alas. Without delay, he withdrew his gardening shears from his back pocket. What? I tried to budge and flee from his grip. I'm sorry? I'm sorry. I'm sorry, I will leave now. I won't bother you again. With a composed expression and an unflinching tone, the florist inched the glistening shears nearer to me. Admittedly, I have a hard time trusting a human's words. Given the ability to speak and form cohesive words, I've learned that some of them can be deceitful. Ugh, damn it! Before I could say anything else, I suddenly feel a sting on my side torso, making me lose my balance. The florist's shears got me. My wife would hate to know that someone as disgusting as you had stepped into our shop. If I leave you be, she wouldn't like that. In agony, I curled up into a ball on the ground. Ugh. The florist took another few steps closer to me, stabbing me for the second time. Ugh! I shrieked in pain, coughing up blood at the same time. Through all of this, the florist just stared at me with an emotionless eyes, holding up my wrist before dragging me. The least you can do to pay is to honor us with your body. I want to fight, but there's no energy left within me. Ugh. The pain is too much for me. My breath slowly becomes ragged, and I find it hard to keep my eyes focused. As my vision starts to blur, I could vaguely see him opening up the staff door, dragging me further inside. My nostrils were met with the same sickening scent from before, making me want to gag. As he drags my body down the stairs, I could hear soft noises of what sounds like a growl. My sunshine! I'm not sure if my ear is playing tricks on me, but I feel like that's the most emotion I could hear from the florist's voice so far. Is he calling for his wife? Yes. You're such a sweetheart. Did you wait for long? Give me a kiss. Is he crazy or something? He just stabbed me and is now being all lovey-dovey with his wife. But wait, I could use this chance to escape when he's distracted by his wife. Almost as if on cue, he hoisted me up like a slab of meat and slammed me down onto the hard surface. Its surface feels sticky, with a strange, moist sensation beneath my fingers. What a cruel efficiency. He raised my head slightly and forcefully shoved a piece of cloth into my mouth. The florist moved with an unsettling calmness. His gloved hands were cold against my skin. Ropes quickly ensnared my limbs, and securing my legs and arms tightly. I attempted to scream and kick, fueled by the last reserves of my energy, but everything emerged as muffled and desperate sounds. It hurts. It hurts. It fucking hurts. Is he going to dismember me alive or something? And if so, for what? My wife surely would enjoy this. Her favorite part of one's body. I shall harvest it. What? My body twitched and convulsed in pain as I let out even more muffled screams from the agonizing pain. Ugh. Before long, I eventually start to lose consciousness. Thank you for your contribution. The florist's cold, distant voice was the last thing I heard as I drew my last breath. Ending, Yellow Carnation. In dalliance with words that were a trance, one stumbled upon a perilous dance, an illusionary garden where charm was the key, a cautionary tale for all to see. Have you learned your lesson now about not wasting anyone's time? After all, time is money to some. Okay. Jeez, I won't waste time anymore. Huh. Okay, there's one more yellow carnation variation. So let's go back. Not there. Wait, is it here? No, I don't think so. Let's go back to this one. Yes, but now I'm curious about something else. About the handsome man behind the array. I don't like this. I still don't like this. Pardon? He looks genuinely surprised at my question, clearly from how his eyes slightly widened. The florist fell silent for a moment, seemingly thinking for an answer, or at a loss for words. You are quite the persistent one, I'll give you that. He sets down the scissors he was holding, walking over the counter to take a step closer to me. What exactly would you like to know about me, then? He suddenly turned around and our eyes met. Though before that, if I may say something, what leads you to talk with me like this, given my marital status? I'm aware of that status, handsome. Yet you choose not to care. I don't like it. I don't like it, but I'm doing this for endings. For endings. Yeah, and what if I don't care? I hate it. Ugh, it makes me feel grody and nasty. Your personal life isn't my concern. His subdued laugh held both humor and an underlying, more complex emotion. Ah. His eyes met mine with a little more intensity this time. Are you perhaps one of those people who find some sort of thrill in doing this? No. Believe me, no. I decided to remain silent, both because I'm not entirely sure on what I should say in return, and also the fact that it seems like he was going to say something more. You're not the first who did this. Leaning against the counter, he crossed his arms and tilted his head slightly to the side, never breaking eye contact. After all, it was now how they honored me with their bodies in the end. His words slightly took me aback. His never faltering eye contact didn't help in making me less nervous. Cat got your tongue? Don't clam up now. You were doing so well. Oh, I'm clamming up. I'm clamming up. And that's why I suppose I should give your persistence a small reward. And to tell you the truth, my wife had a way of making ordinary, mundane moments exhilarating. Much like the way our current conversation seems to be turning. A grin spread across his face as he spoke, his gaze never wavering from mine. Following that, the florist turned and headed to the opposite side of the counter where he began tidying up. You're quite the curious one, aren't you? It's almost like you have no sense of others' boundaries. Just so curious about understanding you better as a person and maybe your wife as well. Well, I have to admit my curiosity might be a bit biased. I think I'm just... Oh, God, I don't like this. I don't like it. He continued arranging items, his fingers briefly touching an old photograph resting nearby. I'm flattered. Though I'm afraid I don't quite get what you're trying to get from the question. He carefully cleared the dust from the photograph, revealing a picture of a sunflower garden. After a moment, he placed the photograph back to where it was and finally turned to look at me. Should I be wary of being in the presence of a detective? You're asking quite a handful of questions. Sorry, I probably should tone down my curiosity. And the florist's chuckle slowly turned into a warm smile. No, it's not every day I have someone show such genuine curiosity. Well, yeah, your passion for flowers and the bond you share with your wife, they seem to hold a depth that goes beyond the surface. His gaze became reflective before he nodded in agreement. You're perceptive. His chuckle dwindled as he refocused on organizing. I don't like it. Please, no. You know, watching you work with You know, watching you work with flowers earlier was really alluring to me. You're quite the flattering one. I wonder if you're like this with every stranger you met, or is it just me? Oh no, I'm definitely not. Don't take fake me. Don't think fake me is real me, please don't. He chuckled again, this time a little more shallow as he shook his head. He reminded me of a self-proclaimed detective that once came to visit me in hopes of that word there, their curiosity. Needless to say, I had no secrets to tell, so they left with nothing. Is that so? Well, I'll be sure to remember that. Aha, not another detective with a good memory. That could be dangerous. His words were light-hearted this time, and a somewhat playful smile graced his lips. I'm no detective, I just find myself drawn to you. Is that so? His eyes held a mischievous glint, and he leaned in even closer. Yes, you're quite intriguing. He trailed his fingers lightly along the edge of the counter, his eyes never leaving mine. In that case, perhaps I should consider revealing a thing or two. The air between us seemed to change as our conversation continued. What's with the sudden change in behavior? I took a step back as he stepped forward to me. You must be thinking, what's with this? You a mind reader? Well, yeah, I was wondering about exactly just that. What about all the talk? About how much you love your wife up until now? Letting out a shallow chuckle, he shook his head before speaking in a quieter voice. To love is to share, don't you think? Sometimes new flowers grow even when we think we've already found our favorite. He sighed, his eyes never leaving mine. But enough about me. Let's focus on you for a moment. Me? I blinked in surprise, taken aback by the sudden redirection of the conversation. I've been persistent for sure, no doubt about it. But this sudden change really took me aback. Yes, you. What really brings you to my flower shop today? Oh, I just saw the beautiful flowers in the window and decided to come in. I needed a good bouquet, plus this is the only flower shop that's still open, so... His pair of crimson eyes sparkled with a playful glint. Well, you have a good eye. Thank you. Though if I may assume, it does seem like you had a change of mind sometime during the time you spent during looking around my shop. You did mention wanting to buy a bouquet for a special occasion, to confess your feelings. Then why are you acting like so? Did your feelings for your crush just dissipated into thin air the moment you entered this flower shop? Oh, I regret my life's decisions. Listen, yes? No, I actually wanted to get to know you. I apologize, but admittedly this is getting a little too confusing. You're not being quite consistent right now, so which is it? Are you going to leave or continue with what you just started? I'm not very familiar with human interaction, so I ask you to be straightforward with me. I'm not good at picking up hints. Despite the strange situation, the florist's voice remains nonchalant with his calm composure, almost devoid of emotion. His calm smile doesn't match the intensity in his crimson eyes, and it started to make me uncomfortable. It's like he's trying to hold back down something. I said I'm not gonna leave. I actually want to get to know you. And it was just a silly little crush anyway, completely one-sided. I'm sure I'd get turned down no matter what. No matter how stunning a bouquet I'd bring for the occasion. It feels kind of pathetic to admit it, but that's the reality. I don't know, it feels kind of pathetic flirting with a married man! There was never really any hope, not from the beginning. Besides, they have their eyes set on someone else. Yeah, because this guy doesn't have his eyes set on someone else because he's just married. To even entertain the thought of confessing, going out of my way to buy flowers, I must have been either incredibly optimistic or incredibly desperate. That's so. The faintest of smile now adorned his lips. I'm gonna die here. I will give you the benefit of the doubt. I must say, I haven't been in such a situation, for which I'm thankful of. Nevertheless, I can try and comprehend your emotions. The florist stepped away momentarily, picking up a delicate white lily before holding it out to me. Look at this. White lily, a symbol of purity, just like the intentions that initially led you to my shop. Are you making fun of me? I'm running out of safes. Help me. Help me. The florist chuckled a bit before setting down the lily aside. I won't answer that for you. His gaze held mine for a moment longer than necessary, making me feel nervous. Are you finally reciprocating my interest in you? Is that even a question? His voice dropped to a lower, almost intimate tone. Let's not keep talking about me. We should continue our conversation somewhere else. My place is right below this floor. I don't realize that he actually lives in the same building. Though my nerves are on edge, I nod in compliance with his offer. Follow me, then. With a gesture, he opened the staff room door. I could smell the sickening scent from earlier again the moment I stepped inside. I paused momentarily to regain my composure, contemplating should I continue to delve deeper or not. The florist noticed this and turned around to face me. What's wrong? No, I'm fine. He smiled at my words and turned around again, continuing to walk in silence. As he walked me down the stairs, my steps matched the rhythm of my racing heart. My attention was drawn to a closed door marked staffs only, and the scent of fresh blooms wafted from the other side. But the floral scent still mingled with the same unsettling aroma that had haunted my senses earlier. Wait, so the door behind the counter leads to the stairs? It doesn't directly take us to the staff room? The florist stopped in his steps and opened a door, allowing me to step inside first. Oh no, I'm back here. I don't know what this room is, but it's dimly lit. This is where we can continue our conversation. I nodded, a mix of anticipation and uncertainty bubbling within me. So, what has piqued your curiosity? You've shown quite the interest in me, but what is it that you really want to know? I want to know how I can leave. He slightly leaned forward, his eyes locked onto mine with an intensity that's difficult to ignore. Or perhaps I should ask, what is it you desire from me? From all of this? My throat tightened as I swallowed, feeling the florist's gaze like a physical touch. You know your answer. You've led yourself to this place, you see. I remained silent for a moment, not knowing what to say. Doomed. Well, you seem to know your desires better than me. He chuckled softly, his eyes never leaving mine. Maybe I do. You see, I am fascinated by the intricacies of human nature, how desire drives us, molds us. Though it's not just any desire that captures my attention. He took another step closer. It's the desires that lie hidden beneath the surface, the ones that makes our heart race, our thoughts spiral, ones that drives us to irrational decisions, ones that you seem to be experiencing at this very moment. His fingers trailed lightly along the edge of the table as his voice turned softer. The desires that we bury deep within us. The truth in his words made my heart beat faster. And what do you do with those desires? He leaned in even closer, his voice a velvety whisper to my ear. I cultivate them, nurture them, just like the flowers in my garden. And when the time is right, I let them bloom in all their glory. And now, I believe I've kept to myself for far too long. He swiftly leaned back, now a small frown on his face. You see, my wife was born in unique circumstances. I love her dearly, but no man can escape their human desires, can they? He paused, his eyes searching mine as if debating whether to reveal something. I'm truly ashamed to admit this. But sometimes due to that very reason, I find myself feeling a little lonely. That's why. Let's take a step towards understanding each other better, shall we? His smile was accompanied by a tender caress on my arm. Fumito is my name. Fumito. Our eyes meet, and now I could see a hint of vulnerability in his expression. Now that I've told you my name, why don't we continue our conversation in a more intimate setting? Oh no. Intimate? Each of his spoken words made me increasingly more nervous. Yes, I have a proposition, given this area is my place of work. Why not let me lead you to a different space? Your living room? I sensed a moment of hesitation in DeFlores' eyes, his composure flickering ever so slightly before he regained his stance. Very well, let's step into my living room. He smiled and turned, leading the way to another part of the shop. It's been so long since the last time I let someone step in here. You see, I tend to invite people to my bedroom instead of my living room. Huh? You know exactly what I'm trying to say. Fumito smiled softly, scooting in a little closer to me. Come here. I will lead the way. Though, if we're talking more intimately, I do have a small request. Suddenly, his slender fingers moved toward me, and before I know it, a soft fabric is draped over my eyes. What's this? My words catch in my throat as I instinctively reach for the fabric. Shh. His touch on my wrist was gentle but firm. If we're going to talk more intimately, this is simply a part of the thrill. I felt a mixture of excitement and unease as the fabric cut off my vision, plunging me into darkness. Fumito's voice was distant, as if he was guiding me through the shop. I trusted his lead, a sense of anticipation building within me. But finally, he came to a stop. Where are we? Diona. What? He called out a name, showing no acknowledgement of my question. I will see you soon, my sunshine. Just a little more. Fumito stepped closer in my direction as he reached for my face and removed a cloth from my eyes. Fumito stepped closer in my direction as he reached for my face and removed a cloth from my eyes. As the world came back into focus, I found myself in a dimly lit room with cold, tiled floors. A strong metallic scent of blood permeated the air, accompanied by an unsettling mix of decay and floral notes. Tall wooden shelves lined the walls, displaying an array of equipment and tools, their surface marred with ominous red stains. I told you it was a small request. Is your body ready? Hell no, it ain't. My heart pounds in my chest as I try to make sense of the situation. What? I said, is your body ready? Hell no. Hell no, 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 no. No. Please cooperate. What? In a flash, he had my arms yanked behind my back, securing them tightly with what felt like a rough twine. I immediately struggled against his hold, but it was futile. With an eerie calmness, Fumito dragged me to a nearby table before I could even react. Its surface felt sticky with a strange, moist sensation beneath my fingers. It felt gross, slightly wet, and I recoiled as my skin came into contact with it. His face was devoid of emotion as he secured my arms and legs to the table. Something about the way he handled this tells me that he had done such things before. His actions unnervingly precise. What are you doing? Once he tightened the last knot, Fumito stepped back and looked down on me, his cold, crimson eyes boring into mine. Just keeping my promise. I'm a man of my word. He maintained his unsettling composure while I squirmed against my bonds. You wanted to honor me with your body, didn't you? You gave in to your desires without a second thought. Fully aware of my marital status, yet you still gave in. It's a weakness many seem to share. My heart raced and I tried to muster a response, but the words caught in my throat. Ugh. He reached for something on the nearby table, and a metallic clink of tools echoed through the dimly lit room. You're insane. He seems to be slightly taken aback by my protest. If you call a man simply providing for his wife insane, then I sure have lost my sanity a long time ago. Though I believe you're one to speak. Being so mindlessly driven by your desires to the point where you risk your own safety, that is what I call insanity. Oh, hi. Hi. Fumito suddenly climbed on the table and loomed on top of me. It's now clear that he's holding a piece of cloth in his hand. He looked down on me, his voice dripping with mockery and thinly veiled disgust. You're so shameless, aren't you? Always succumbing to your desires, never thinking of the consequences. He suddenly slapped my cheek, the sound resonating in the room. Ow. Just like an animal. I could sense a deep-seated disgust in his eyes, as if he loathed not only me, but the very nature of humanity itself. It's getting late now. I can't waste any more time. My wife is waiting for me. I will make sure this ends quickly. You'll soon forget those desires that led you here. And any shame that comes with it, if you're even capable of that. Though I doubt you do. My vision began to blur as he pressed the cloth against my face, soaked in something sweet-smelling. I wanted to respond, to defy him, but the room seemed to grow darker, my eyelids heavy. Just close your eyes. I couldn't shake the feeling that the florist's disgust lingered, even as I drifted into unconsciousness. To put up an act like that was disgusting. No, I am in no way cheating. My sunshine, things goes, even though despise him. Father's teachings effective. My senses slowly returned, and I find myself in the same dimly lit room. Fumito's oddly affectionate tone of speaking filled the air, but I couldn't quite grasp what he was saying properly. His voice sounded close, as if he were right beside me, but just out of my field of vision. My head feels hazy. I tried to move, but I couldn't feel my limbs. I realized something was very wrong. My arms and legs were unresponsive, as if they weren't even there. Yes, but he was delicious, wasn't he, my dear? And the florist's voice trailed off as our eyes met, realizing that I had awakened. Or at least, that's what I think. It's hard to see things properly. No. I can't have you awake for this. I attempted to turn my head and focus to see where I was and what had happened to me. But Fumito's presence loomed closer, and his hand pressed against my forehead, stopping me. His touch felt strange, a little damp with the metallic scent hinting at blood on his fingers. My attempts to speak or struggle were feeble, my body unwilling to respond. I tried to speak and ask what was happening, but my words came out as a garbled murmur. My heart raced, and I fought to regain control over my body. Don't fight it, please. The sweet, sickly scent enveloped me once more, and my vision quickly wavered. What a delectable offering you are. My wife's dinner tonight will be memorable. The last thing I heard was the florist's voice, distant and cold, tinged with a subtle disgust. Thank you for your contribution. In dalliance with words that were a trance, one stumbled upon a perilous dance, an illusory garden where charm was the key, a cautionary tale for all to see. A reckless fascination, wasn't it? Remember, not every connection is worth pursuing.
Okay. Okay. I think we have one more ending to get.
I think I need some fresh air. Can I step outside while you finish? Of course, take your time. I'll continue working on the arrangement. And please, feel better soon. I nodded at his words and forced a grin on my face before swiftly turning around to leave the shop. Stepping outside the fresh air did little to ease my anxiety. I couldn't shake off the feeling that there was more to this flower shop than meets the eye. My instinct screamed at me to leave, but I couldn't abandon the mission. As I took a deep breath, I contemplated whether to confront my fears or learn what's going on, or just take this chance to leave. I re-entered the shop to see the florist remains in the same spot, still completely absorbed in his work. Sorry, maybe another time. Oh? I don't think I'll be coming back in here. Something's definitely not right. Your arrangement is beautiful, but I just got a text from a friend that they knew some other place. Without taking the time to wait for the florist's response, I closed the door shut and dashed away. As I make my escape, the haunting scent gradually fades, and the night becomes quieter and more familiar. My heart begins to steady, and I feel a sense of relief knowing I just escaped whatever that flower shop was. Lily of the Valley. Is this the... No, this isn't the... I don't know how to get the other ending, so I will leave the other ending to you guys. That is all for Diona's Flower Shop. If you guys liked what you see, click that like and subscribe button down below. And remember, don't get fed to carnivorous sunflowers. And if you meet a stranger with pink hair, get your flowers and skedaddle. Don't meet his wife. It ain't worth it. Anyways, love ya, love pups. Bye.